Bonjour, Kinamagi and Nene Ireland edition of Kaz, and welcome to this production of the My Math Network. Today's lesson, Chapter 11, Lesson 9, Hands-on Metric Rulers. Let's begin this lesson by looking at our last session's work. And we were talking about line plots, also known as dot plots. And we referred back to here for numbers 1 and 2, which one showed up the most. It's kind of like finding the mode of a data set. It's exactly what it is finding the mode of a data set. And we had an eighth of a ton and a half ton as our most common animal weights in tons. And the fair share, if you add these all together, we have 4/8, which is a half, 2/4 is a whole. So now we're at, makes this all together, 2 halves, I'm sorry. Or put together, we have 4/8, 2/8, so 1 whole. Then we have 2 more, so 3 divided by 10, 3/10. Line plot here, see there's 4 of each. Was the fair share? Not surprisingly, it's a half. What would change if we added? So it'd be 7 pounds in the fair share divided by 14. Would have still been okay. Fair share is the equal amount, so the mean. And what's the correct fair share for the measurement shown in the line plot? 1/3. Today's work, we're going to be back to being able to cut out the ruler if you have one. If you're in person, you can do that. If you're at home and you have a ruler, the metric side is going to be the side that goes usually from 0 to 30. And you'll notice that there are little marks here between these numbers here are centimeters. And these little marks here are millimeters. And there are 10 of them in a centimeter. So we'll be doing some measuring and some drawing. The best way to complete today's assignment, again, is also with a on a paper copy. One thing you can do if you're at home is I will set it up where if you draw the line segment with each of the following lengths for 5 and 6, what I would ask from you is to stick the ruler below it, in between them maybe, or lining it up with the end, and then taking a picture and uploading the picture. That's an option too. Or just scanning and doing the whole assignment. You can do it that way as well. Again, we're on metric rulers. And the essential question is, how can I use measurement conversions to solve real world problems? And the good news is, as we start moving into metric, everything is based on powers of 10. So it's going to be a much simpler conversion. All right, so you should open up 851. And at the top of 851, some directions. When you're measuring, you place, well, let's look at the top first. Centimeters and millimeters are units of length. 1 centimeter equals 10 millimeters. Centi comes from the same root as century or cents, and there are 100 cents in a dollar. So a centimeter is 100th of a meter. And milli, if you think millennium is 1,000, milli is 1,000th of a meter. So there are 10 millimeters in a centimeter. All right, looking at number 1 on 851. Again, just like when you were using the customary unit, you want to line it right up with the 0. Don't line it up over here because then you're going to be inaccurate. You find the 0 and then you measure, and you can see real quick where that's going to go. Because it rides up right there. Near a centimeter, the length was, let's go back for the picture, right there at 4. To be closer to 3, it would have had to be on this side of 5. So it's same kind of rounding skills. So right in the number 4. Again, it's expected that you would follow along as we go. All right, moving forward here. Find the length of the toy car to the nearest millimeter, and you might need to use the, if you have a metric ruler, or most have metric marks, it's as long as it doesn't have just inches. You could measure, and technically even a meter stick would work. You're going to measure the length of this car. And how many millimeters long is it? 57. So it's 5 centimeters and then 7 millimeters, which converts into 57. Go ahead and write that in. How could you tell the difference between the centimeter and millimeter marks? Centimeter marks are longer. Just like when we're doing customary, the longer the mark, usually the larger the value. And they're a lot closer together. Yeah. Is it easier to measure objects to the nearest centimeter or to the nearest millimeter? It depends. The millimeter is going to be more specific. But if you're rounding, it's easier to kind of eyeball and round it to the nearest centimeter than to the millimeter that is very small. Measure the length across a penny to the nearest centimeter or millimeter. I would probably say millimeter because it's a smaller unit and you get more precise. All right, you're going to practice using your rulers. Go ahead and find the measures of these. You can pause your video when you're doing that and unpause when you're ready to check your answer. Go ahead and do that now. Welcome back. It's closer to 2 centimeters because it's 19 millimeters. This one's closer to 4 centimeters as it is 38 millimeters. Interestingly, this is exactly double the size of this. Find the length of each object. So you're going to find a length of the pencil you're using and the width of any book you want to find around the room or at home. Your answers are going to be different. So I'm going to put up the suggested answers here. Nearest centimeter to millimeter. So when you measure it to the nearest centimeter, then you multiply by 10 to get your nearest number of millimeters. If you could be more specific, like if it's 218 millimeters, it's still going to be closer to 22 centimeters, but you can eyeball it and get it more specific. This one was as if it was perfectly on. All right, at this point, I'm going to send you to the work. Similar to when we did the customary. If you're at home, you're going to have to upload a picture, or you could even just scan it and send the whole thing to me via email or text. You could use a Google form for parts of it and upload the image. Or if you're an in-person student, the best way to probably do this assignment is on a paper copy. If you have any questions, please reach out to me at mireland@sagchipschool.net. Please have a minute. Minwa, Bama P.